Okay, so good afternoon to all, and welcome to lecture number 5. And in this lecture, we will be starting our second chapter. And the title of that second chapter is Laplace transform. Already, you people have studied this one in your either in your M3 or M4. Okay, so just will revise it, and then after that, we will study what is by transfer function, what is by concept of poles and concept of zeros, and so on. So that kind of things we will study in this chapter. I think we will need at least 4 hours to finish this chapter. Okay, and we'll study what is the role of basically Laplace transform in control system. Okay, but before that, let us talk about what kind of transforms are available, and then why do we need transforms and so on. Okay, so basically, you might have heard a simple Fourier transform is there, then fast Fourier transform is there, discrete Fourier transform is there, then short-time Fourier transform is there, Laplace transform is there, then wavelet transform is there, Gabor wavelet is there. So how many transforms are available? So there are basically thousands of transforms available. Okay. What is the role of transform? Okay, and we'll study that what is the role of transform, and then how this transform is applicable in a control system. While Laplace transform we are using, that we'll study later on. But in general, let me tell you what is by transform. Okay, and then why we are using the transforms and so on. So as I told you that there are thousands of transforms. Okay, and particularly there are the bifurcation of the transform is like as a continuous transforms are there and discrete transforms are there. Means like, for example, cosine transform is there in continuous domain as well as discrete domain. Sine transform is there in continuous domain as well as discrete domain. Fourier transform is there in continuous domain as well as in discrete domain, and so on. Right. So there are thousands of transforms available, but transform itself is a mathematical operation. Okay, what is transform? The transform is a mathematical operation which maps information from one domain to another domain. Like for example, if we take the Fourier transform, what is the role of Fourier transform? The role of Fourier transform is to map information from time domain to frequency domain. Okay, so we'll see how this Fourier transforms works, and then later on we'll study this one, Laplace transform, and so on. Okay, so transform is a mathematical operation which maps information from one domain to another domain. Means like for example, your original signal is in time domain, and then this information can be mapped into the frequency domain. So we will come to know what are the different frequency component in that signal very quickly. And as an electronics engineer, okay, we are playing with the signals, and signals are everywhere. Like for example, your voice is signal. Okay, your ECG is signal, EEG is signal. Okay, even if you measure the temperature, that is also signal. Image is two-dimensional signal, video is three-dimensional signal, and then in communication you have to play with the signal and so on. So everywhere signal is there, and sometimes these signals are basically in time domain, and some of the information is not available in the time domain, so we have to map that one into frequency domain, and then after mapping we get the information and so on. So for mapping this function or sequence from one domain to another domain, transform is used. So transform is a mathematical operation which maps information from one domain to another domain. Now, why transforms are used? Number one reason is that the transform of a function may give additional or hidden information about the original signal or original function, which may not be available or obvious otherwise. Like for example, you have the signal, like if I utter a word like as a control system, and then if you record that voice pattern with the help of microphone, and then this microphone will convert this voice into the electrical signal. And if you record that electrical signal with respect to time, you'll get the several sinusoidal waves are there. And then if somebody asks you that what is the frequency of this signal, now this signal will contain several frequencies. So by looking at the signal, you cannot tell, because this is a complex signal, and telling what is the frequency in that signal directly in its original domain, that is time domain, is not possible. So what we do, we take the Fourier transform of that time domain signal, and then we will get that, okay, this signal contains 10 kilohertz or 2 kilohertz or 5 kilohertz component, and so on. So after looking at the frequency domain representation, we come to know that what are the frequency content of that signal. Now, what is my domain? Domain means basically independent variable. See that. So for example, if you are recording this signal, speech signal, with respect to time, so your x-axis is time and y-axis is amplitude. So amplitude of that speech signal is recorded with respect to time. So your independent variable is time and dependent variable is amplitude, right? Independent variable is time and dependent variable is amplitude. And then see that how many independent variables are there in speech signal? Only one, that is time. And how many dependent variables are there? That is amplitude. Okay, so what is the dimension of this signal? Dimension of this signal is 1, because dimension of the signal is decided by number of independent variables. So number of independent variable in the speech signal, see, speech signal is recorded with respect to time, and your x-axis is time, y-axis is amplitude. So this signal is having one independent variable, that is time, time as an independent variable. So speech signal is one-dimensional signal. Okay, if you record the ECG signal, so again it will be with respect to time. So that is also a one-dimensional signal. Even if you record that earthquake signal, that is nothing but the seismic signal with respect to time. So amplitude of that signal is recorded with respect to time. So your one x-axis is time, y-axis is amplitude. So it is independent variable is 1. So your seismic signal is also one-dimensional signal. Okay, so your speech signal is one-dimensional signal, ECG is one-dimensional signal, EEG is also one-dimensional signal, then earthquake, that is seismic signal, is also one-dimensional signal. Or sometimes, suppose for example, you would like to measure the vibration of the machine. In mechanical engineering, so you have attached a vibration sensor. So this vibration sensor will record the vibration amplitude of vibration with respect to time. So how it will be represented? Your x-axis will be time and y-axis will be amplitude. So here again, your independent variable is time and dependent variable is amplitude. So your vibration signal is also one-dimensional signal. So you will find many signals are one-dimensional signal. Now, what is the domain of this signal? Domain of the signal is that what kind of independent variable you are using. Here you are using independent variable as a time. So the domain of that signal will be a time domain signal, right? Now, when you are recording the speech signal, so it is a time domain signal, and if that speech signal is very complicated, that various number of frequencies are there. Now you'd like to know what kind of frequencies are there in that signal. So in the original domain, it is not possible. So what we do, we take the Fourier transform of that one, and then Fourier transform, will represent the signal in frequency domain. Now in frequency domain, what is your x-axis? X-axis is frequency, y-axis is amplitude. Now what is so what Fourier transform is mapping from time domain information to frequency domain. See that original signal x-axis was time. Now mapped signal x-axis is frequency. So time is mapped with frequency. So directly you will get the frequency information in the frequency domain. And so this information was not available in original domain. So that's why by taking the Fourier transform, you will come to know what are the frequency content in the signal. And that's why this transform or a function may give additional or hidden information about the original function, which may not be available in the original domain. I hope that first point is clear. That is, by taking the transform, hidden information will be known to the user. So that is the first reason why one should take the transform, right? Then the second reason is related with our control system. Now you know that from the third chapter, we are going to start to have the mathematical modeling of physical systems. So in control system, there may be higher order control system, like mathematical models may contain differential terms as well as integral terms. So integral differential equation will be there, right? And this integral differential equation will be having the higher order, like nth order differential equation is there. Now solving this nth order differential equation to find the solution is very, very difficult in the original domain. So in this one, differential domain, or in integral differential in this one. But if you take the transform, Laplace transform of that integral differential equation, you know that you have studied this Laplace transform. What is the Laplace transform derivative d by dt? Derivative of Laplace transform of d by dt is nothing simple s term. What is the Laplace transform of integration? It is 1 by s. Now suppose, for example, if I have the term d raised to d raised to 3 x of t by dt raised to 3 plus 2 d raised to 2 x of t by dt raised to 3 2 plus something like that. So if you take the transform, Laplace transform that one, so d raised to 3 by dt raised to 3, this term will be replaced with only s cube term, whereas d2 x of t by dt square will be replaced with s square term. So this integral or differential equation of higher order will be represented into a simple algebraic equation. Now solving the algebraic equation is easy, or solving the differential equation is easy? Obviously, solving algebraic equation is easy. So the original domain of the equation was, or original equation was integral differential equation, but by taking the Laplace transform, this integral differential equation has been represented in simple algebraic equation, and solving this algebraic equation is easy as compared to solving the integral differential equation. Means what we have done, by taking the transform of integral differential equation, Laplace transform of integral differential equation, we have converted that integral differential equation into simple algebraic equation. So solving algebraic equation is easy. So our life has become simple by taking the transform. So this is second point why we should use transform, right? Then the third point is that the transform of a function or sequence may require less storage, and hence provide the compression. See that you might have heard compression, like for example, for transmitting the information, like program, which is okay, you might have seen that matches are nowadays held in England, and we can see those cricket matches from our home. So whole program is transmitted from England to all over the world, and this is not directly transmitted. So okay, first thing is that whenever you record the video, after that video recording, compression is done. So data will be represented in a minimum amount of this one storage amount, as well as this one memory required will be less, bandwidth requirement will be less, and so on. And then after that, it will be transmitted. So this compression can be achieved by using simple discrete cosine transform or wavelet transform. So by taking the transform of original signal or original video and then processing it further, we can basically achieve the compression with the help of transform. So transforms are useful for representing the data in compressed form, and because of that, storage space will be required will be less, bandwidth required will be less, and hence we will get the data compression or data reduction. So that is the beauty of the transform. So this is the third reason why we should use the transform. Then fourth reason is that you are now, I think you have one subject like as a signals and systems. Okay, so professor might have started teaching you. You will come to know across, or you will come across the convolution. Okay, so convolution of two signals in a time domain. Okay, what is the process? If there are two sequences for convolution, you have to flip one sequence back. Okay, and then you have to shift that sequence, multiply, and then add, shift, multiply, and add, and so on. Finally, you'll get the convolved signal. So this basically process is tedious, time consuming, and so on. But the same thing can be done in a frequency domain. Like for example, if you have one function x1, another function y1. So if you take the Fourier transform x1, if you take the Fourier transform y1, so after taking Fourier transform, just you have to multiply these two Fourier transform, you will get the result same as like as a convolution. So convolution in frequency domain is easier as compared to convolution in time domain. That's why, and this is possible by taking the transform. So I hope that it is clear to you that why transforms are essential. Number one is that transforms will give you the hidden or additional information if you map the signal from original domain to transform domain. Second reason is that by taking the transform, your higher order integral differential equation will become simple algebraic equation, and then solving simple algebraic equation is easy as compared to higher order integral differential equation. Third reason is that by taking the transform, we can achieve the data compression, or it will require less storage and compression can be achieved, and then it can be used for transmission purpose. So transform is very, very essential. Third thing is that operations like as a convolution is easier in frequency domain rather than time domain. So that's why, means basically transform makes our life easy. Okay, instead of treating the information in original domain, if you treat that one in a frequency or other domain, by taking the transform, our life becomes easy, or problem can be solved very quickly, and so on. So that's why transforms are used, right? I hope that it is very clear to you why transforms are there. Also, I told you that there are thousands of transform, and the main transform or transform can be defined as it is a mathematical function or mathematical operation which maps the information from one domain to another domain. Now how all those transforms looks like? Okay, so all those transforms looks like very simple, right? For example, this is the complex function summation of weight and basis function. So basically, this basis function is different for every transform, or this is also called as the kernel function. Now kernel function, see that, like for example, if I have the signal f of t, which is equal to a sine of omega t, this signal is there. Now if I take the Fourier transform, that one, so it will be mapped with f of omega, and then what is the this one equation? Integration from 0 to infinity f of t, then e raised to minus j omega t dt. So that is the Fourier transform. We'll see that one equation and so on, right? So this is nothing but Fourier transform, na, f of t e raised to minus j omega t. So this is your signal, and then you are getting the Fourier transform. See, time domain signal is mapped with the frequency domain, so omega, right? And then so you are getting the frequency domain signal here represented with omega and so on, right? So this function, basically this is, so e raised to minus j omega t is nothing but the kernel function, okay, and this f of t is nothing but your original signal. So you are integrating that f of t and then multiplying with e raised to minus j omega t kernel function. Now if you try to take the Fourier transform of this one, Laplace transform of this signals f of t same, then what will be there here? Instead of f of omega, it will be f of s, which is equal to, again it will be integration from 0 to infinity, f of t will be there, and only thing is that here instead of e raised to minus j omega t, it will be e raised to minus st dt. So this portion is changed, remaining this integration will remain same, f of t will remain same, only kernel function will change. So in a transform, okay, this basis function of transform is different for every transform. So okay, this is represented in discrete domain. So you know that Fourier transform is a simple sinusoidal function are used in Fourier transform. Like Fourier transform is given by f of omega equal to f of t into e raised to minus j omega t. So this e raised to minus j omega t or e raised to plus j omega t, if you expand this term is just like as a cos of omega t plus j sine of omega t. Now if you basically see that this is one kernel function, and from this one kernel function, if this e raised to minus j omega t or e raised to plus j omega t, here e raised to plus j omega t is the basis function of f of here inverse Fourier transform, or e raised to minus j omega t is basically kernel function of your forward Fourier transform. So if e raised to minus j omega t would have been there, here cos of omega t minus, here instead of plus sign minus sign will be there, here it is plus, so here also it is plus here. So this e raised to minus j omega t can be expanded into the Euler form as a cos of omega t plus j minus j sin of omega t if it is minus, right? Now, if you change the omega t, now omega t, if omega t is equal to 0, so you will get cos of 0. So cos 0 waveform, right? So it will be straight line. Then sin of 0, it will be also straight line. And if you consider this as a cos of omega t as a 1, okay, or 1 hertz frequency is there, then you will get cosine wave of 1 hertz frequency, also sine wave of 1 hertz frequency. So how many cosine and sine waves can be generated from single prototype function? So this kernel is nothing but the single prototype function from which you can generate, since the value of omega t is ranging from 0 to infinity, so you can generate infinite number of basis function. See, from one kernel function you are generating infinite number of basis function. This is omega t, cos of omega t is called as one basis function, sine of omega t is another basis function. So it is a pair of basis function, right? Cos of omega t and sine of omega t. So how many pairs we can generate? If you change the value of omega t from 0 to infinity, you can generate, okay, infinite number of pairs of basis functions. So from one prototype function, you are generating infinite number of basis function. So this is called as the kernel function, and by expanding it, by putting the value of omega t different, you get the different basis function. And what is done basically, suppose for example I have the signal this f of t as a 5 hertz, okay, so definitely okay, if this is 5 hertz, what will happen? We will try to find out the correlation between this 5 hertz and this basis function. So this basis function is basically cos of omega t plus j sin of omega t. Now if you put the omega t equal to 0, so this will be cos of 0 and then this will be sin of 0. So cos of 0, I'll trying to find out the correlation between cos of 0 and this sine function f of t is nothing but sine of 5 hertz. So will there be any correlation between this one and this one? Absolutely not. Correlation means similarity between two signals. Now when there will be two signals will be same, if their frequency and amplitude is same, then they are similar. But now this signal, original signal, we are assuming it as a 5 hertz frequency sine wave, and now basis function is cosine wave of 0 hertz. So this is 0 hertz and this is 5 hertz. There will be matching? No, absolutely there will not be matching. Now this is sine wave and this is also sine wave, but what is the frequency of this one? 5 hertz. What is the frequency of this one? 0 hertz. So is there any matching? No. So at omega t equal to 0, there is no matching, or correlation coefficient is 0, and hence Fourier transform coefficient will be 0. So your first Fourier transform coefficient at omega t equal to 0 will be 0. Now again, this omega t is changed from 0 to 1. Okay, so you get one cosine function of 1 hertz and then another cosine function of 1 hertz. So again, cosine of 1 hertz and this is sine of 5 hertz. Is there any matching? No. Then again, this is sine of 5 hertz and this is sine of 1 hertz. Is there any matching? No. So at omega t equal to 0, Fourier transform coefficient will be 0, and hence your Fourier transform coefficient will be 0. So as you go on increasing the value of omega t such that omega t equal to 5 hertz, right? Cos of omega t is equal to 5 hertz, 5 hertz cosine wave, and sine wave is also 5 hertz. So when you are matching this one, cos frequency is same, right? 5 hertz, but here it is sine wave and this one is cosine wave. So is there any similarity between cosine wave and sine wave? Sine wave will start from 0. Cosine wave is having maximum value at 0, right? So though frequency is same, but there is a phase difference of 90 degree. So correlation coefficient will be 0, and hence there will not be matching between cosine wave and sine wave, and here output will be 0. But when you compare this f of t with sine of 5 hertz, so this is also 5 hertz and this is also sine of 5 hertz. Now when both the signals are sine wave, frequency is same, amplitude is also same, so definitely they will have maximum correlation coefficient, and then that, okay, you'll get one peak at 5 hertz. So you can record that it will be having one peak at 5 hertz. Again, if you increase omega t from 5 onward up to infinity. So you'll get 6 hertz cosine wave, 6 hertz sine wave. So correlation coefficient will be 0, and you'll get every time Fourier transform equal to 0. So after representing the signal in a frequency domain, you'll get only one peak at 5 hertz. Means we can find what is the frequency of signal from the time domain. So in this way, Fourier transform works. So recall that Fourier transform uses the complex exponential sinusoid as a building block. So this e raised to minus j omega t is nothing but in Euler form expanded cos of omega t minus j sin of omega t. So this is the for inverse transform. So what we do for each frequency of complex exponential, the sinusoid at that frequency is compared to the signal, and if the signal consists of that frequency, if the signal consists of that frequency, when I said that this is 5 hertz and this is 5 hertz, then consist of same frequency, sine wave and sine wave frequency is same, then correlation coefficient will be large, and because of that, Fourier transform coefficient will be large. But for other, if the signal does not have any spectral component at a frequency, the correlation at that frequency is low, and hence your Fourier transform coefficient will be also low. So in this way, your Fourier transform works, right? So now see that what is this? Suppose, for example, this is the signal x1t, and this is cosine wave twice by 5t. So this is cosine wave of twice by 5t, which I have plotted. Now, what is the frequency of this one? Twice by ft. F means 5 hertz. So this frequency is 5 hertz, right? So this is represented in, your independent variable is time, dependent variable is amplitude. So this is time domain signal. Now, if you take the Fourier transform of this signal, what is the job of Fourier transform? Job of Fourier transform is to tell what is the frequency in this signal. So what is the frequency here? 5 hertz. So you will get only one peak at 5 hertz, right? So if you take the Fourier transform of this signal, you'll get one peak at 5 hertz. Similarly, if this is the signal x2 of t cos of twice by 25t, so this is also cosine wave, but now frequency is changed 5 times more. So it is 25 hertz. So frequency is 25 hertz. And now if you take a Fourier transform, this one, you'll get one peak at 25 hertz. Rest of the time, it will be 0. So by looking at the Fourier transform, you'll come to know what is the frequency directly, right? Similarly, x3 is there. That is cos of twice by 50t. So what is the frequency twice by f? F is now 50. So 50 hertz is the frequency. So if you take the Fourier transform of this signal, there will be only one peak at 50 hertz. Rest of the time, it will be 0. Now look at this one. So you will come to know that after taking the Fourier transform, how this signal is represented. This is the original sine wave of 5 hertz cosine wave. And then after taking the Fourier transform, you got only one peak at 5 hertz. So by looking at directly in this representation, we can tell that this signal contains only 5 hertz frequency. Similarly, your second signal is of 25 hertz, right? This is in time domain. After taking the Fourier transform of this one, it will be mapped with frequency domain. So your this will be in frequency domain. You'll get one peak at 25 hertz, right? So by looking at this representation, you can directly tell what is the frequency of this signal. Second signal x2, this is 25 hertz. Similarly, for third one, it is 50 hertz cosine wave. After taking the Fourier transform of this signal, you will get this kind of representation, Fourier transform representation. So you'll get one peak at 50 hertz. So by looking at this one, you can tell directly that this signal contains 50 hertz. So what is the role of Fourier transform? Role of Fourier transform is to tell what are the frequency contents in the signal. Directly, it is representing or it is mapping from time domain to frequency domain, and you will come to know about the information of the signal, right? Now, second transform is nothing but the Laplace transform, which is of our interest, because Laplace mathematical model of our control system consists of higher order integral differential equation, right? So many mathematical models of control system consist of higher order integral differential equation. Integral differential means that equation which contains integral terms as well as differential terms. Okay, higher order means their order is higher, and so on. So using Laplace transform, so solving this higher order integral differential equation in its original form is very, very difficult. Finding the solution, finding the stability from that higher order differential equation is very difficult. So what we have to do, we have to take the Laplace transform that integral differential equation. So this Laplace transform will convert higher order integral differential equation into simple algebraic equation, like s square plus twice s square plus twice as plus 10 equal to 0, or s raised to 5 plus 4s raised to 4 plus 2s raised to 3 plus 5s raised to 1 plus 10 equal to 0. So this higher order integral differential equation will be converted into simple algebraic equation by using Laplace transform. Okay, so you know that using Laplace transform, we can convert many common functions into algebraic function and of complex variable s. Like for example, you know that Laplace transform of sine of omega t. What is the Laplace transform of sine of omega t? That is given by omega divided by s square plus omega square. Whereas what is the Laplace transform e raised to minus at? That is equal to 1 by s plus a, where this s term is a complex variable and which is given by s is equal to sigma plus j omega, where sigma is a real part and then j omega is a imaginary axis, or omega is basically frequency and the sigma is a real part, right? So we will study this this one Laplace transform in detail in our tomorrow's lecture. Okay, so today we'll stop. Today what I have covered is that what are the different types of transform, what is the role of transform, okay, why transforms are used, what is transform basically, and then I talked about something about Fourier transform, how Fourier transform works. Okay, our main aim is not to study Fourier transform in our control system. Our main aim is to basically how this one Laplace transform is used, and then how transfer function is found, and then from transfer function how we can find the stability of the control system, and so on. But for understanding purpose of the transform, I have taken this Fourier transform. I hope that you might have understood, and in tomorrow's lecture we'll study the next part of that one, that is Laplace transform, and in our regular lecture. So thank you very much. So see you tomorrow.